The Ajahn, can you teach or give some instruction on the breathing meditation method, as I'm not very sure of this type of meditation? Thank you. That's what I've been teaching the last few days. When you're breathing meditation, first of all, settle down. The body, you settle down in the mind. In the Anapanasati Sutta, the Buddha said you go to a quiet place and then you establish mindfulness in front of you. What mindfulness in front of you means is actually getting into what I call the present moment awareness and silence. That's basic mindfulness. Because if you're thinking of the future, if you're thinking about the past, you're not really mindful, you're not really alert. You're somewhere else. And also, if you're thinking too much, you're not really mindful. Sometimes people think so much that they fall over things. They're just thinking of something in their head while they trip over the snake which is at their feet. So this is not really being mindful. So, to start the breath meditation, or any meditation, you've got to sit down, make the body comfortable, on a chair, on a cushion, and then establish basic mindfulness, alertness, awareness. And once you have that basic awareness, alertness, then you can choose your meditation object, whether it's breath meditation, loving kindness meditation, or whatever, or body meditation. Once you choose the breath, as many of you who've been in the interview room have experienced, to tell you what I mean, I give people this little object lesson. I tell them to close their eyes, take 3 breaths with their eyes closed, and after the 3rd breath, open their eyes. When they do that, I ask them afterwards, how did you know you were breathing in and out 3 times? Whatever told you you'd breathe in and out 3 times, that's what you watch in breath meditation. Just that much. And anybody can do that. Especially it's wonderful if it's novices. People who've never meditated before. It's a great way of starting them off. Close your eyes, breathe in and out 3 times. At the end of the 3rd breath, open your eyes. Because I'm not telling them how to do it. You can do it naturally without being told. Do I have to tell you how to eat? You eat naturally. In the same way with breathing, you breathe naturally. But the point is that if we tell you how to watch the breath first of all, it messes it all up. So you watch the breath naturally. Wherever it happens to be is good enough. Again, when I was young, I was taught the breath meditation on the nose. Sometimes my nose was stuffed up with sinus problems. Couldn't watch the breath there. Then I was taught on the belly. Sometimes I was too close to my stomach. And as a young man, that was a very important part of my anatomy. And so I just got disturbed. And when I figured out that you don't have to watch the breath anywhere, you watch it where it is, it became quite clear to me how to watch the breath. Naturally, however the breath happens to be, wherever it happens to be, that's where and how you watch it. Your job is just to watch, not to do anything. It's like you go in there, into the kitchen area, you just watch people cooking. You are not allowed to do the cooking. You can just watch. You can't even give advice. All you can do is watch. You can't do the breathing. You can't give advice to the breathing. Please, breath, be at the tip of my nose, be at my stomach. Don't give any advice at all. Just watch. So that's what we do with the breath meditation. We establish the breath in our mind. There are techniques which you can use to actually follow the breath. Sometimes people use mantras with the breath, such as the famous mantra of the Thai forest edition. As you breathe in, you think to yourself, Bud. As you breathe out, To. Buddho, 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 with the breath. Because if you actually use a word with it, it tends to make it easier to watch. Or you can do a noting with the breath, saying just in, breathing out, out, in, out. Or you can do counting the breath. Breathing in 1, breathing out 1, breathing in 2, breathing out 2. If you're doing the counting, this is the method I used for counting the breath when I was a young monk. I breathe in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3, up to 9. In 9, out 9. And I start again. In 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, in 8, out 8. Up to 8 this time. The next one, in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6. This time up to 7. In 7, out 7. Then in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 4. In 5, 5, 6, 6, up to 6. And then in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3, in 4, out 4, in 5, out 5, up to 5. In 1, out 2, in in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3, this time up to 4, in 4, out 4. Then in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2, in 3, out 3. And then from 1 to 2, in 1, out 1, in 2, out 2. And lastly, in 1, out 1. Reducing it by 1 every time. And that means you'd have to watch 45 breaths in a row. And it was complicated because you had to know where you were in the 8th cycle or the 6th cycle. And so it gives you something to work with if you've got complicated minds. So this is actually one way of counting. You don't have to do it that way. If you really get bored with this meditation, you can count backwards. In other words, breathe out 1, then in 1. Out 2, in 2. Try it. It is very, very different. Out 3, in 3. So you start with the out breath. So there's different ways of just getting the breath meditation a little bit more interesting. And then once you've got the breath meditation pretty much in mind, let go of all the counting, let go of all the bud and do's, let go of all the noting, so you can just watch the breath. So you feel the breath, rather than adding anything to it. What that is actually doing, again, you're focusing on one thing, everything else is being left behind, like the simile of shooting the arrow into the eye of the bird. Everything else, such as your body, the past and the future, even the people around you, all disappears. And all you're left with, just like the archer's just got one eyeball left in his consciousness, the target. All you've got left is the breath in your consciousness, nothing else. So that's a degree of one-pointedness, focusing on one thing. At first, when you try and focus on something like the breath, it will always be difficult. One of the great techniques is to use a bit of loving kindness on the breath, to embrace the breath. Look upon the breath as your friend. If you look upon the breath as a friend, you like to hang out with your friends. You like to spend time with your loved ones. So make your breath your loved one. So then it's very easy to spend time with the breath. Soon it does actually become very peaceful and very happy. Once you have happiness with your meditation object, what I've sometimes called the beautiful breath, in other words, is so joyful, so lovely, you're just sitting here watching your breath going in, going out. When it gets to that stage of happiness, that's the stage you don't need any more effort. You just want to watch the breath. And the mind doesn't want to leave it. That's the most important stage in the meditation, because once you have that, you can let go and everything just falls into place. The breath becomes so beautiful, brilliant, lights come up, get into jhanas, it's easy from that stage. The point is to get the happiness in the meditation. And that's what we do. We do with the breath meditation. By the time you get happiness to come into the breath meditation, the breath has done its job. That's the time you let go of the breath. It disappears. And all you're left with is the happiness, the joy. And the breath, you don't know whether you're breathing in or breathing out or breathing at all. Just like the body of the bird is gone when you watch the eye. Then the eye is gone as you watch the little pupil in the middle. You're all going in. You've gone beyond the breath. And that's wonderful. So that's the breath meditation in a nutshell. Any questions about that from the floor? Okay, next question. When doing walking meditation in Vipassana, we are mindful of the movement of the feet. When doing walking meditation in Samatha, should we be mindful of the breath or of the feet? Yeah, in Samatha meditation, you're mindful of the feet. Because what's happening there, first of all, when you start walking meditation, you get yourselves nice and comfortable, find a nice path. That's similar to sitting down on a chair or on a cushion for your sitting meditation. When you do walking meditation, next thing you should do is to come into the present moment, just like sitting meditation, let go of all the past and the future. The next thing in walking meditation is try and calm down the inner commentary, the thinking, till you get some silence. The same as the sitting meditation. Calm the mind down, let go of all the thinking and all the words. Because that's establishing mindfulness. So if you're doing walking meditation, establish mindfulness first of all. Collect yourself in the present moment, in the silence. And then you can pick up your meditation object, which in walking meditation is watching the movement in the feet. There's no difference between samatha and vipassana. When you do walking meditation, you watch the feelings in the feet. You can note them at the beginning, just the same as you can count your breath. But after a while, when the mind focuses on the feelings in the feet and you're pretty settled in there, you don't need to do any noting. You don't need to do anything. You just feel the movement in the feet. And as you walk, you don't have to decide you're walking fast or you're walking slow. Allow it to happen naturally. So you're not forcing or controlling things. You're allowing the body to do the walking. Just like you go and watch the people in the kitchen, you don't do the cooking. You just do the watching. So when you're walking, you're just watching. And I remember doing walking meditation as a young monk. And sometimes I would just go so slow, the distance between that wall and the wall to my left, your right, took 30 minutes because I was walking in this hall which had a grandfather clock. And when I'd walk back again, another 30 minutes. That's how long it took from one end to the other end. Because I just wanted to go slow. When you do this, your mind gets very, very peaceful. And this is actually what happened to me. I remember once walking meditation in Bangkok. And before I'd reached, back to where I started, it's only 2 laps of the hall, that way and back again. A monk came up to me because I'd been walking too slow and I had to go to a dana, a house dana, and he came to get me because I was late. And he came up to me as I was just lifting my foot, so quiet and so still. And he said, "Brahma Wangso." And it was like he was right next to my ear. It was like listening to someone 100 miles away. So he put his mouth almost in my ear hole. "Brahma Wangso." And it registered then. And I came away from my feet. And this is, you're watching me now, this is actually what I did. It took me, this is actually going quite fast, as I tried to move my head, actually to go and see. I'm going fast now. I moved my head. It took about a couple of minutes. He must have thought I was crazy. What? I was so peaceful, so calm. It's so hard to speak or even to move. No, that was calm. Incredible calm. So whether you're doing it for vipassana or samatha, they both go together. And you really get still in walking meditation. If you really get still doing walking meditation, watching your feet, then stop. Just stand there. You don't have to go fast at all. And see if you just stop there. Some people have got into jhanas when they're doing walking meditation. We have to stop. It was because when you get into jhanas, you've got no recollection of your body at all. You don't know what's going on outside. You go right inside of you. So it's best to stop before you get into jhana when you're walking meditation. Otherwise, apparently, so one of my fellow monks tells me, there's one monk who's got such strong meditation in Thailand, he gets into jhana when he's walking. He keeps on bumping into trees. He's got all bruises over his head. You don't know what you're doing when you're in jhana, not outside. You know what you're doing inside, but not outside. So if you do get very still, when you're walking meditation, stand still. Don't move. Or even better, just sit down. That's walking meditation. Any questions about that one? Okay, next question. If I don't answer the question to your satisfaction, please tell me so. If not, you can always put a question in the box for tomorrow. Dear Venerable Ajahn, do we have to chant before meditating in an unfamiliar environment, like in a hotel room? Sukhi Hotu Sadhu. You don't have to do anything. You can just make your mind very peaceful and calm and still, and that will protect you. If you want to do chanting, it can be very useful. It's just like, do you have to have soup before you have your meal? Sometimes people like a soup before the meal, sometimes they don't. It's really up to you, the time and place. So there's no rule there. And for those of you who think that, oh, you're in a hotel room, maybe there may be some ghosts in that hotel room, because people actually do die in hotel rooms. Especially in these old hotels. You can get these very old, ancient hotels, especially in Europe. And those hotels have been there for so many years, the chances are that somebody has died in that room you're staying in. And some of them may be like old mansions or old, even monasteries, they turn them into hotels. So, I've heard lots of stories about, especially from people who work for the airlines. They're either pilots or flight attendants, and they go to all these hotels in different countries. And they all know the rooms which are haunted. Because apparently the hotel, because it's like a contract with the airline, they will not give those rooms to their tourist guests. They usually give it to their business guests, like the airlines. And they put them in these rooms. And at night time, things rattle. There are sounds. And so you don't need to worry about that. If you're meditating, you're much stronger than any ghost. This is what happened to one of my monks, not my monks, a monk I knew. He's disrobed now. He was meditating in the northeast of Thailand, in a very famous monastery, noted for its ghosts. And one day, he was meditating there, he got a bit tired, so he leaned against the wall, put his feet out, and he was dozing off when he felt something literally pull his leg and yank him. First of all, he thought it was a heavenly being, a deva, waking him up and getting him to meditate some more. But it kept on happening, and it soon was realized that sometimes he was sitting properly, and somebody would sort of bang him, or sort of pull him. And he realized it wasn't a deva, it was one of the ghosts, just being naughty. And after a while, he would recognize it, because it always come in, after a while, when he got used to it and familiar with it, come in with a bad smell. And that's a ghost. So the way he got rid of it, it came in one day while he was meditating. He realized it was going to come in and mess around. And so he said, "Ghost, you sit down here next to me and meditate and watch your breath, or you get out of here. Stop playing around." He was firm. And the ghost went away and never came back again. Because the ghosts don't like meditating. So that's what you do, you're just firm. So if you go into a hotel room, there's a ghost or whatever, just say, "Right, I'm staying here, I pay for this room, not you, get out." And if you're firm, you've got more power. If you're meditating, you've got far more power than any ghost, and they'll run away. So you don't need to chant to get rid of ghosts. You're already very safe as a meditator. You keep your precepts, you're fine. What you can do, though, is chant just to get yourself settled in, and to bring up some happiness in the mind. That's all, but it's not absolutely necessary. Okay? Dear Ajahn, in the event of death, how does one prepare oneself to accept death? Thank you, Sadhu. When you die, it's very common, people experience out-of-the-body experiences. They go out of their body, look, see what's going on. Eventually they float towards the light. You ever heard of that one before? What do you think that light is? Have you heard a word called nimitta? It's exactly the same thing. In meditation, when your five senses are turned off, they suppress. You can't see, you can't hear anything, you can't smell, taste, you can't even feel your body. When those five senses are turned off, that's when the light appears in deep meditation. It's the same when you die. Those five senses are turned off forever. And you see the mind, the light. So in this type of meditation, you are literally having a rehearsal for your death. This is actually what happens. So you're trying it out before you actually really die. It's great having rehearsals. Even when you get married, you can have a rehearsal at the whatever it is you get married. And when you do examinations, you do a rehearsal first of all. And some even concerts have rehearsals. So this is a rehearsal for death. So you're finding out what it's like. This is the best way to prepare. So basically all you need to do is to make lots of good karma, be generous, be kind, be compassionate, do service. Keep your precepts absolutely pure. Be compassionate and kind